The use of stem cells for medical treatment may be an ethical and a legal minefield, but there is no question the procedure works. At least there's no question among the people who have benefited from it. Canadians are traveling to India and to China for stem cell injections, and they are showing incredible improvement. Tonight we meet a young man who broke his back a year ago. He was told he would never move again from the chest down. He wouldn't accept that. He left his BC family farm to go to China for a procedure that is not legal here, but is radically changing lives elsewhere. Mary Beth Burton begins a series of reports tonight on stem cells and the difference they're making for people who are living with spinal cord injury.
We'll show you a young man paralyzed from the chest down pedaled his stationary bike. 26-year-old Jonathan Dieleman, the eldest of 6 boys, grew up on a cattle farm in Smithers. An ambitious young man who bought a house at 23 and worked hard for his money.
I've done a lot of logging in northern BC.
Last summer, Jonathan was dirt biking on the family farm, popped a wheelie in 5th gear, hit a rock, and the course of his life changed forever.
It took me about 30 seconds to remember I was dirt biking, and then I sat up, tried to sit up, and I could see that my legs weren't where they felt like they were, and it was an instant realization that my back was broken.
Jonathan was supposed to spend last summer dirt bike racing. Instead, he went to spinal cord rehab and learned to adjust to life in a wheelchair. A T5 paraplegic, Jonathan couldn't move from the chest down.
My reaction to it was, stuff happens. There's no point in getting depressed about it or pissed off.
Unlike many spinal cord injured, Jonathan had money. A critical incident insurance policy paid off, and good benefits came from his employer. Jonathan pushed hard through rehab and wanted to do more with his body.
And then I was looking around on the internet lots because I had lots of time.
Jonathan discovered stem cell therapies for spinal cord injured were offered in several places around the world. In April of this year, he chose China, where his own stem cells were mixed with umbilical cord cells and injected into his body 6 times over the course of 4 weeks. It cost $30,000, and immediately
I gained a lot more trunk control, a lot more stability while I was in a standing frame and on my knees.
Doctors in China told Jonathan to expect more gains over the next year as injected stem cells began replacing his non-functioning spinal column cells. His recovery priorities are changing.
For me, when I first had my accident, all I could think about was, I want to walk again. And 6 months later, it was, well, I can get braces to walk again. I want to be able to control when I'm going to the bathroom.
Many stem cell patients regain full bladder control. When patients return from having the stem cell procedure, they're encouraged to stay physically fit. No problem for Jonathan, who clearly has a fighting spirit. Jonathan's muscles have atrophied since the accident, and it will take time to rewire communication between his brain and the growing cells. His trainer at Victoria's Path SCI clinic has high hopes for Jonathan's recovery.
It is going to be very interesting to watch a tough young guy who's not shy about working, who just had the procedure done, and he has the time to put the work in.
Just last week, Jonathan had an incredible breakthrough.
Well, the sitting on the stationary bike the other day was the first time for me, and I could get it moving from a standstill. And I still don't understand how I did it.
Jonathan rocks the pedals back and forth. In 30 seconds, he's dripping in sweat and then pushes the pedals around by himself. An incredible feat, and Jonathan has no plans to coast on his success. He believes stem cells will get him walking and ultimately back working the family farm. In Victoria, Mary Beth Burton, A News.
And tomorrow on A News, Mary Beth will introduce us to a Victoria man who has used a wheelchair for 17 years. We will see him walk after having embryonic stem cell treatment in India. That's tomorrow on A News at 5.